Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the 105 leFH18B2, the French Tier 5 premium SPG that most people know as a leFhy or a leaf blower. We know as Fifi La Pew Pew. And this one is located on the west spawn of El Halluf under the command of Appa561. Game on! Well, I have to start this replay by saying an apology, actually. I got something wrong. Yes, I actually stated that the 18 in the name of leFH18B2 actually stood for the caliber length of the barrel. In actual fact, it's the year that the howitzer was first designed and produced. Yes, one of the watchers actually pointed out to me that I was completely wrong, and I do apologise. I got it wrong. I accept that. I now know that it's actually an 18 was the year of production, and L28 was the length in calibers. Okay, Appa's reached his firing position. I do like it when members actually do help me with this, because what they're doing is they're helping me to be more accurate on my videos, and I do like to be accurate. After all, I'm an Arty player. Accuracy is my game. Well, he fires around there at the T-34 1941. That's the first version of the T-34, which actually had a different gun. I think it was the trying to remember the exact game. It was a 76mm gun, the main gun that was actually used on the T-34. He fires a quick snap. Wasn't fully dialed in, so it hit the rock face. Okay, we've got a T1 Heavy and a Stug 3 Ausführung B. Rounds out the T1. He's going to get hit. He is 64. How could I tell that? Well, he was fully dialed in and he was ready to go. Rounds out. Oh my gum. That's a penetrating shot in the Stug. 435 hit points. Second round goes out and he's out the game. Perfect. Just shows the power of these 105mm rounds. And say it was the most produced Arty. In fact, it was very well produced because it was very well designed. It had hydromatic recoil, which meant that obviously it actually was more efficient than most of the other Artys around. I saw a T28 go up in smoke. It was actually a very well designed. It was designed at the end of the First World War. Okay, Panzer IV Ausführung X is the next one. Rounds out. He's going to get hit. He is. Oh, he got a fire! A penetrating shot and a fire. It's 410 Alpha of this 105mm gun, 53mm pen. So if he hits the top armor, it's going to go straight through. Yes, the Germans were devising a lot of really good weapons. Oh, a one-shot kill on the T-28. At the end of the First World War, they managed to develop quite a few weapon systems to their pinnacle. Obviously, their tank development was absolutely terrible. Obviously, they were actually capturing British tanks and putting them into use for themselves because their own version wasn't that great. But they did improve, and in fact, the Germans worked a lot on trying to manufacture really good tanks later on during the interwar period when they were not supposed to be developing tanks at all. Valiant. Direct hit for 100. Oh, yeah, it was 13 hit points, but it hit the heavy armor, so it did do a lot of damage. And that one definitely hit as well for 131. Didn't get through the armor, but it hit the turret. He's trying to go for a blind shot now. Yes, he does get a hit. Let's hope that he gets another hit with this one. It'll probably kill the Valiant. Well, the Valiant's moved, so that shell exploded on the ground. So yes, the Germans were developing a lot of weapons. So some of the weapon systems that were actually seen during the Second World War were actually original designs that were developed during the First World War. Things like the 15cm howitzers that they were using. Because of course the Germans were very good at building weapon systems. They just weren't very good at applying them sometimes or making good use of them. There's the Valiant that we were hitting earlier. Rounds out. Oh, I think that's going to miss. Yeah. I mean, they did effectively use them during the Blitzkrieg, of course, with the tanks, but, oh, this is going to hit. Oh, it didn't! RNG said no on that occasion, only gave a critical hit, 2-meter blast radius. But they did eventually come a cropper, because although they were very successful with Blitzkrieg, with very fast-moving tanks, some of the tanks they developed during the later part of the war were very slow because they were so heavy. So they built their technology, but they built tanks which weren't really effective. Tanks like the M4 were very effective simply because they were mass-produced, they were reasonably fast. Another one-shot. The Chi-He goes down, 200 hit points. That was probably a penetrating shot, and it looks like they've platooned, or he's platooned, with the T-28E with the F-30 gun, and also with the M10 RBFM on his team. So they're up by 3 tanks. Yes, so I did say the Germans were very good at building technical solutions or weapon systems. Obviously, they came up with something like the Tiger, and then they developed it even more to get the Tiger B, effectively the Tiger II. They were good at building weapon systems, but then, of course, because they didn't put the right engine in, and of course most of their good soldiers had died early in the war, the Germans weren't capable of employing those systems to good effect. Another penetrating shot on the Su-85 top armor, which is very thin. Second round goes in, actually hits the ground this time, so the guy must have moved. Firing another one in, hoping we're going to catch him. No, he's moved, he's gone. We're just firing rounds at the rock now. Okay, M8A1, let it settle in. So they built these great systems, but most of the really good soldiers already died, so they weren't that great at employing them. And of course, a lot of the soldiers... Oh, a one shot there and a blind kill. Some of the soldiers they used later on during the war, the pity was that they had great systems, but they just employed them wrong by turning side on to the enemy when they were moving, such as the Jagdtiger. The Jagdtiger had fantastic frontal armor, but you should never show your side armor to the enemy. And of course, I'm afraid that that's exactly what did happen during the Second World War, because a lot of the German tank drivers were very young and inexperienced, and of course they turned side on to the enemy to change their position, and then they got taken out. It was only when they were actually moving about that they became vulnerable. Okay, Hetzer, Jagdpanzer 38. Penetrating shot, 363, and he goes down to the M10, who happens to be on our platoon. And that means there's only one enemy left, and it's an Arty, and we know where he is now because he just fired. And it's an M41 HMC. He's behind that bush, but we need to adjust the aim. He's going to fire blind one shot, and I think our teammates are going to locate him before we reload. No, they didn't. Okay, well, he's moving to get closer because I think he felt that he was out of range. But I think he actually is in range, and there's the M41 blowing up right at the end. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was a first-class tank of Appa561 in the FIFI, the 105 leFH18B2, which, as we now know, 18 is the year of production of the howitzer, or at least that it was designed. He got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He actually got 4 exactly. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in the game. In this one, he managed to get 10. He got a Gauze medal because he did more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle. And he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And lastly, he got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in that game overall. His win rate was 8,821, a very good example of how the Arty carries. Yes, let's have a look at team score. Well, he definitely got the highest damage with 2,923 hit points. Nobody else could get close to him other than the VK3001H, who only got 1,216, and he was the only player who managed to get over 1,000 hit points other than Appa561. Third in that game went to the M10 RBFM, who happened to be on Appa's platoon. He got 990. When it came to kills, Appa got that one as well. 4 kills to him. 2 kills went to the M10 RBFM, the Striv M42, the T28E with the F30 gun, also in his platoon, the Hetzer on his own team, and on the enemy team, their VK3001H managed to get 2 kills, so did their Fifi. He got 2 as well. When it came to base XP, yep, he's got that one as well. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,076. He's the only player to get over 1,000 in that game. The next highest player only being 693, followed by that was the Striv M42, followed by the M10 RBFM on his platoon, who got 650. He fired 32 rounds in that game, got 13 direct hits on the enemy and 8 penetrations, a huge number of pens, 7 splash, damage of 2,923, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 10 of the enemy, killed 4, so there's the Confederate. Actually, it's a very high number of hits. And he earned 116,480 credits from the battle and 3,874 experience points altogether. So fantastic game there by Appa, really superb. Me waffling on about German technology and the development of the howitzers. Yes, I whenever I get new information like that, it's always useful to actually know, because it means that I'm better informed on future games. And I was quite surprised that when I read about the details about this particular howitzer, that originally it was designed in 1898. Yes, would you believe it? It's that old. But they kept developing it and redevising it, and eventually they came up with several versions before they developed the one that we see in the Fifi. And in fact, the one that's in the Fifi was also put into numerous other vehicles, including the Heischreck, which is the same actual howitzer in the Heischreck, the Panzerselbstfallefährte 4B. So, learned something new. And thank you very much to the member who actually pointed that out to me. I'm very grateful. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.